We go to a hearing in Ypsilanti, Michigan. 31-year-old Michael Carter's been charged with driving with a suspended license. He appears today before Judge Elaine Washington, who will determine next steps in Carter's case. But first, prosecuting attorney Kyle Bradell calls the judge's attention to Carter's surprising call-in location for today's hearing.
I do feel the need to point out he is in a vehicle. Mr. Bannis, do you know if your client's in the back seat or if he's in the driver's seat?
Looks like the back seat to me, but
I suppose, Judge, if he could just turn his camera and show that he's in the back seat, that would be enough to satisfy me. I don't know if Mr. Bannis wants to instruct his client to do that yet.
Mr. Bannis, yeah, this is your opportunity.
Your Honor, if we could have a breakout room, then I think I could at least make some representations to the court about what I believe is going on.
When Carter and his lawyer return from the breakout room, the prosecutor notices something a bit different about Carter.
Judge, he's clearly in a different seat.
The prosecutor seems annoyed, but he'll still offer Carter a plea deal.
He can plead to no ops on person at this time.
No operator's license is a lesser charge, but it would still be added to Carter's driving record.
I got a question, ma'am.
Oh, hold on, sir. I'm going to advise you not to say anything.
Okay.
Of course, there's no evidence that he's driving, but prosecutor has the ability to make whatever offer he feels is appropriate. So, Mr. Carter, if you want to resolve the driving while license suspended misdemeanor, you could plead guilty to a slightly less serious misdemeanor called no operator's license on person, which has 0 points. And I would ask the judge to sentence you to a fine. Are you interested in that?
No, I'm not.
All right, I'm gonna adjourn all these matters to November the 1st. That is the last adjournment on this particular case. And at that point in time, your client will need to determine whether he wants to accept an offer or to set this for a trial.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, I'll see you then.
In the end, Carter's decision to reject the plea deal worked out, as the case was later dismissed by the prosecutor.
It's coming back in. Oh boy. It's gonna be that day.
We go to Ann Arbor, Michigan for a preliminary hearing. 34-year-old Stephen Ruggs has been charged with assault and domestic violence. 2 months earlier, Ruggs was arrested and then released on $5,000 bond under the conditions that he undergo regular drug testing and not have any contact with the alleged victim. This is Ruggs' second domestic violence charge in the last 7 months. The previous case was dismissed. Today, Ruggs appears before Judge Cedric Simpson to discuss next steps in the case. He's represented by attorney Silvana Reed. The prosecutor's Nicole Hughes. Before the hearing begins, Hughes wants to discuss a recent drug test that Ruggs missed.
Yeah.
The May 17th bond violation report.
I do. Is there a reason why you were missing? You were testing elsewhere, weren't you?
No, sir.
If I give you a test today, are you going to test?
Yeah, the only thing I'm going to fail for would be marijuana.
Why are you using that?
Can I speak freely?
Yes.
Your Honor, I'm going to be up and honest with you. I used to have a crack cocaine addiction, and I've come a long way. I've been through a lot, this past few months. I lost my father, my grandmother. There's no excuses.
Give me an order. Okay, he's going to go over to community corrections test today. I'll get the results, and then I'll determine what his bond will be as he proceeds up, because he's told me what's going to happen, and then we'll figure out what we're going to do.
As the defendant exits the courtroom, something gets the attention of the prosecutor.
Yeah? Okay. What was that on? It's coming back in. Oh boy. It's gonna be that day.
Ruggs and both attorneys return to the courtroom.
What's wrong?
I just bring surprises.
Yeah,
Is that file still in the courtroom?
it's sitting here right with me.
As we were leaving, the deputy let me know that the victim was actually present today with the defendants sitting beside him. As we exited into the hallway so that I could see who the deputy was referring to, the defendant was speaking to is out in the hallway, and the deputy confirmed that that is the victim. With that, in addition to the corrections violation, I'm requesting that he be remanded and that its bond be revoked.
Your Honor, I have no further information at this time.
Does he admit to the violation?
You're Honor. Not sure.
If you wish.
She wasn't here with me today, Your Honor.
Were you talking to her in the hallway?
She made a comment to her in the hallway.
Judge Simpson isn't convinced.
Were you sitting next to each other in the courtroom?
Courtroom video from earlier in the day shows the defendant and the alleged victim sitting together in the back of the gallery.
You know I can get video from the courtroom.
Yeah, she was sitting next to me.
You're not to have contact with her. You know that. Forget the testing. Defendant's bond at this time is revoked. Defendant's remanded.
Thank you.
Your Honor.
Ruggs was taken into custody and remains in jail. His case was bound over to circuit court and is pending.
The drugs were there. I did not put the narcotics there.
We head to Jackson County, Florida, for the trial of Zachary Wester. The former sheriff's deputy was charged with 67 counts of racketeering, fabricating evidence, false imprisonment, and possession of controlled substances. Wester's accused of planting drugs in a dozen vehicles during random traffic stops.
A substance that appears to be an illegal narcotic. Do you know anything about that?
I do not.
All of the drivers denied owning the drugs, but yet most were subsequently arrested.
You have the right to remain silent.
The arrest caused suspicion internally, and in 2018, Wester was suspended. 3 years later, the case went to trial. He pleaded not guilty to all charges.
This is a case about an abuse of an incredible power, about the abuse of the incredible trust that we all put, and we have to put, in law enforcement in a society.
The prosecution relied on the defendant's own body cam footage to help argue their case. Stephen Van, a convicted felon, had recently gotten out of jail when Wester supposedly found methamphetamine in his car.
Have you ever seen this before?
No. No, what is that?
I'm just trying to figure out how that stuff got in your car. You're gonna go to jail today for possession of methamphetamine, okay?
Oh, man, dude, I'm serious, dude. Anything, what you want me to do, man?
Like the other drivers who testified, Van gave the officer permission to search his car because he claims he had nothing to hide.
And I knew my truck was clean. I knew it was.
While the jury got to watch most of the traffic stops, some recordings had mysteriously disappeared.
Why in the world would that have been deleted? I wish I knew that answer.
Ironically, body cam footage would become the strongest element in the prosecution's case, especially when it came to Teresa Odom.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good.
At first, the officer's polite, even playful.
Anything in the vehicle I need to be concerned about? Bombs, hand grenades, rocket launchers? Okay.
While Odom stands behind the vehicle, Wester begins his search. Notice as he prepares to put his gloves on, there's a small item in his left hand. Prosecutors argue that Wester is palming a small bag of meth, which he claims to find next to a spoon in the vehicle.
Miss Odom.
It is yogurt, sir.
I know. Okay.
It's yogurt.
How about this, though?
That is not mine. No, sir.
Okay.
Now, the white small plastic baggie that was in that spoon that the deputy just showed you on this video, had you ever seen that before?
No, sir.
Was that in your car?
No, sir.
As far as motive, the prosecution claims the 28-year-old officer was ambitious and wanted to move to narcotics as quickly as possible. Wester testified he never planted any drugs.
The drugs were there. I did not put the narcotics there.
And after 5 days and several witnesses, the jury was asked to render a verdict. If Wester's found guilty on all charges, he could spend the rest of his life behind bars. After 7 hours, the jury returns with its verdict.
In the state of Florida versus Zachary Tyler Wester, we, the jury, find as follows as to the counts charged and the information. Count 1, guilty of racketeering as charged.
The clerk went on to read the verdicts on all 67 charges.
Count 7, guilty of official misconduct as charged.
In total, the crooked officer was found guilty on 19 charges.
Count 9, guilty of official misconduct as charged. Count 10, guilty of official misconduct as charged.
Including misconduct in the arrests of Van and Teresa Odom. 11 of the 12 drivers filed civil lawsuits against Wester. In July 2021, he was sentenced to 12.5 years in a state prison. We go to a pretrial hearing in Ann Arbor, Michigan. 44-year-old Corey Harris has been charged with driving with a suspended license. 15 years earlier, Harris had his license suspended for failing to pay child support. A court then rescinded the suspension in 2022, but according to the state, Harris never followed up with the necessary paperwork, so the suspension was never officially lifted. So when Harris was pulled over in October of 2023 and cited for driving with a suspended license, he was given a no-cash bond and ordered to return to court at a later date. Today, he's scheduled to appear before Judge Cedric Simpson to discuss next steps in the case.
Court calls case People versus Corey Harris.
Harris's attorney announces herself.
Assistant Public Defender Natalie Tate for Mr. Harris, who should be present via Zoom.
Harris joins the hearing, although it looks like he's in a car, driving.
Hello?
Are you driving?
Actually, I'm pulling into my doctor's office, actually. So just give me 1 second. I'm parking right now.
Judge Simpson appears confused.
So maybe I don't understand something. This is a driving while license suspended?
That is correct, Your Honor.
And he was just driving. And he didn't have a license.
Oh.
Is with the charges, Your Honor, yes.
No, I'm looking at his
Yes.
record. He doesn't have a license. He's suspended and he's just driving.
That is correct, Your Honor.
Hello?
1 minute, Mr. Harris.
I don't even know why he would do that. So, defendant's bond is revoked in this matter.
Now it's the defendant who looks confused.
So, defendant has turned himself into the Washington County Jail by 6 p.m. today. Failure to turn himself in will result in a bench warrant with no bond. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Harris, I'll be giving you a call.
Okay.
Harris turned himself in that day and served 2 days in the county jail. 3 weeks later, he had a new lawyer and another hearing where Judge Simpson confirmed that at the time of his last traffic stop, Harris was, in fact, driving with a suspended license. He was released on a no-fee personal bond and has yet to enter a plea. The case is pending. Harris did finally file the necessary paperwork, and his driver's license suspension has been lifted. Next, we take you outside the Baldwin County Courthouse in Bay Minette, Alabama. It's an ordinary day until a sheriff's deputy conducting a routine security check around the property finds a surprise, a bag containing meth as well as some prescription drugs. When he reviews the security footage, the answer to this meth mystery becomes crystal clear. That's Rebecca Ann Willis, age 37. She's securing the drug-filled bag to a railing, while her alleged accomplice, Alexis Byron, waits off camera. Why would anyone tape a bag of drugs to a courthouse handrail? According to police, the drugs were probably placed there so a current inmate could retrieve them. The contraband was hidden near a door used by corrections officers to move inmates in and out of the courthouse. Police quickly identified Willis and charged her with attempted distribution of a controlled substance, unlawful possession of drug paraphernalia, and after she destroyed evidence when police arrived, she was also charged with tampering with physical evidence. About a week later, police arrested Byron in a stolen car in Mississippi. In addition to the drug charges, she was also charged with receiving stolen property. Byron was extradited back to Alabama, where she was later released on bond. The results of her case are still pending. Willis, however, pled guilty to unlawful possession of a controlled substance and was sentenced to 2 years in prison. As for the intended recipient of the drugs, that person has not been identified.